Okay guys, so before we do anything else, let me first show you what I have. Okay, so there you go. For the Module 18 cumulative test, I just wanted to tell you where you need to look at in order to study. Okay, so Module 18. And so I realized that there's a lot of questions, so we're going to have to take the test on Friday and on Monday. Okay, I'm going to make this into two separate tests because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have a total of 28 questions. Okay, so there's going to be 28 questions on the test, and so I want you to do. I'm going to give you two separate tests. On Friday, I'm going to give you 15 questions. And then on Monday, I'm going to give you 13 questions, okay? So I'm just gonna go in order. The 17, the stuff in the back, we're gonna do that on Monday. But anyway, the first 15 questions would be from chapter 22.1, number 8. So here's 1. And then chapter 22.2, number 18. These are all from the evaluate section. 22.3, number 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 questions up to number 4 right here. You see that? Well, all of that would be for Friday, and everything in the back would be for Monday. I didn't write down the question numbers for 17.2, 17.3, and 18.5 because I remember I wrote it on the board, and quite frankly, I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, so on Monday, there's going to be 13 questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you know that I'm going to select 5 questions from 17.2, 3, and 18.5 total. So today's video, I'm only going to focus on these questions over here in Module 14, just because it's been a while since we learned this stuff. And over here, this is all combination and permutation, so I think you'll be able to go back and take a look at it. So anyway, so here's the first question, 14.1, and like I said, this is question number 4, right? We're doing 4 and 5 in here. It says use this diagram and information given to find measure of angle BFC. So BFC is this angle right here, right? So BFC right here, BFC. So I need to find that angle. What is given to me is that angle AFB, so this red line, and angle EFD, which is EFD, so this angle right here. They measure 45 degrees, and that's really helpful information. So I'm going to actually write that down, 45 and 45. Okay? So then now it says point BFD and points EFC are collinear. What that means is EFC are all on the same line, and BFD are all on the same line. That's what collinear means. It means they're all on the same line. So what is the measure of angle BFC? Okay, let's figure this out, okay? Well, we don't really have to know too much because, as you already know, what is the relationship between this blue highlighted angle, which I have to find, and this angle? Oh, wait, they're opposite angles, right? So, opposite angles are vertical, it's called vertical angles, right? And vertical angles are congruent to each other. Congruent means they are the same, so they're both 45 degrees. So that's it. The measure of angle BFC is 45 degrees. As you can see, this is a very easy question. Let's just go ahead and plug it in so you feel good and know that Miss Choi gave you the correct explanation, right? Now here's the next question in 14.1, question number 5, as you can see right here. Okay, so let's move on to number 5. This is number 5. Okay, so there you go. You have a sprinkler swinging back and forth between A and B in such a way that, make sure you highlight important information. Angle 1 is equal to 2, so this one and this one is the same. And 1 and 3 are complementary. 1 and 3 are complementary. 2 and 4 are complementary. In case you forgot what complementary means, that means you add up two angles and they end up being what? 90 degrees, okay? All right, so let's look. Oh no, all the answers are given right here. Don't look, don't look. Okay, so if measure of angle 1 is 51.5, if this is 51.5, what is the measure of angle 2, 3, and 4? Well, 1 and 2 are the same, so measure of angle 2 is 51.5 degrees. And then to find the measure of angle 3, don't forget, what does it say? 1 and 3 are complementary. So what that means is measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 3 equals 90 degrees, right? But what is measure of angle 1? Oh yeah, they just told us it's 51.5. Okay? So in order for us to find the measure of angle 3, all we have to do is subtract 51.5 from both sides. This becomes 0, measure of angle 3 equals, and if you subtract, you'll get 38.5, and you already know that because you can kind of sort of see it here. So measure of angle 3 is equal to 38.5 degrees. Finally, the measure of angle 4 is the same as the measure of angle 3. The reason why is because look, angle 2 is the same as angle 1. So this is another 51.5. And again, 2 and 4 are complementary, so you got to set it up the same way. Instead of just angle 1 and 3, you're going to use 2 and 4. Okay? And so that's it. These are your answers, and we are done with 14.1. Let's move on to 14.2. Okay? So 14.2 is question number 1 and 15. And so now we're in 14.2, question number 1. Okay, so in the figure below, M is parallel to N. A lot of you don't understand what this symbol means, right? That means parallel. So maybe you should write it down. That means parallel. Okay, so when you have two lines like that, that means it's parallel. Match the angle pairs with the correct label for the pairs. Indicate a match by selecting the letter blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what we know is M and N are parallel to each other, right? So then we have to know all the angle pairs. Okay, so let's take a look. Angle 5 and 8. 5 and 8. Oh gosh, that is vertical angles, right? So that would be A. All right, and then angle 4 and 6. So vertical angles are opposite angles, 5, 8, 6, 7, 1, 4, and 2, 3, okay? And they all measure the same, okay? 4 and 6 is, let's see, 4 and 6, there are same side interior angle because they're on the same side of the transversal and they're both inside the two parallel lines, right? So that's going to be B right here. Another thing you have to remember about same side interior angles is that they are supplementary. Supplementary means you add them up and they become 180 degrees, right? All right, so question number C says 4 and 5. So let's see, 4 and 5. Okay, so the orange ones are obviously on opposite sides of the transversal, but they're both on the inside of the parallel lines, right? So those are going to be alternate interior angles. So that's going to be C right here. And those are going to be they are going to measure the same, okay? So vertical angles are congruent, alternate interior angles are congruent, corresponding angles are congruent as well. So I'm guessing the answer for that one will be D, okay? And D was angle 2 and 6, okay? So yeah, those are corresponding angles because they're both on the left-hand side of the two parallel lines and they're both at the bottom of the transversal. So make sure you understand the names. I remember playing games in the classroom to help you do this on the boards, right? Okay, next question, number 15. There you go. Number 15 on 14.2. Ocean waves move in parallel lines toward the shore. Let me make this a little bit bigger. The figure shows the path that a windsurfer takes across several waves. For this exercise, think of the windsurfer's wake as a line. If M, a measure of angle 1, is equal to 3x plus 7y degrees, and N, measure of angle 2, equals 3x plus y degrees, find x and y. Okay. So first of all, we have to understand that that is angle 1, and this is angle 2. Okay. Another thing that we have to understand is that there are relationships, right? So these are all parallel lines, as you can see, because that's what it says. The ocean waves move in parallel lines. So this line and this line and this line are parallel to each other. This is 63 degrees. So try and remember the angle pairs that we learned in question number 1. This angle and angle number 1, what kind of angles are they? Ooh, you didn't have it there. So, but these are called same side exterior angles. But since it wasn't there, let's not worry about this angle and that angle. Let's worry about the red dot and number 2. What kind of angles are they? So obviously, these two lines are parallel to each other, and this is a transversal. So this angle here and that angle, number 2, is going to be what? Oh, they're both on the left-hand side of the parallel line. They're both at the bottom. So these are corresponding angles, right? And I told you they measure the same. They are congruent. Okay? So that will be, so angle number 2, okay, which is 3x plus y degrees, is going to be how many degrees? 63 degrees, okay? So then now, even if you didn't know the relationship between this red dot and angle number 1, you should already know, right, that angle number 1 and angle number 2 are what kind of angles? Yeah, they are same side interior angles, okay? So same side interior angles means, I told you earlier, you add them up, and they become 180 degrees. So this is a parallel line, this is a parallel line, right? Transversal, so these two angles are, oops, sorry, same side interior angles. And they are supplementary, I said. And supplementary means they add up to be 180 degrees, okay? So angle 1 plus 2 equals 180 pretty much. So let's see that. Measure of angle 1 is 3x plus 7y plus measure of angle 2 is 3x plus y. And they add up to be what? 180. Okay, so now we have to combine these two to solve them, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make space over here. So I don't have to take you to a new page because then you're going to get confused and all. Let me change the color of my pen, okay? So 3x plus y equals 63. That's the first equation, and you can't really do much to simplify. So I'm going to leave it like that. Now over here, I could combine 3x plus 3x is 6x. And then 7y plus y is 8y. Because don't forget, this is the same as 1y, okay? And that is equal to 180, okay? So then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write this one down here. 3x plus y equals 63. Okay, so this is the second equation, right? And then I simplified it and put it over here, and this is the first equation. So we have to try and eliminate the x or the y. What will be a good choice? Obviously the x, because, you know, this is a 3 and a 6, so I just have to multiply everything at the bottom by 2. So I'm going to multiply everything by -2. Actually, not 2, because then I have 6 and -6, and that will cancel out the x's, right? So let me just go ahead and copy the top part. 6x plus 8y equals 180. And then what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to multiply everything by -2. 3x times -2 is -6x. Y times -2 is -2y. And then 63 times -2 is -126. And now we're going to add top and bottom, so x's go away. This becomes 6y. 180 minus 126 is, let's see, 4. And then 8 becomes 7 minus 2 is 5. So 6y equals 54 degrees. Divide both sides by 6. Y is equal to 9, because 54 divided by 6 is 9. But now we also have to find out what x is equal to. And so I'm just going to plug it in right here. Okay? Oh, wait, no, not right there. My bad, right here, the first equation, okay? So instead of y, I'm going to plug in what? 9. So now I'm going to change the color of my pen again so you don't get confused, okay? This is like different steps. I went from red to blue and now to black, okay? So there you go. I'm going to copy 3x plus, and y was 9. And that equals what? 63. So from here, we have to subtract 9 from both sides. So 3x is equal to 54, right? And if we divide both sides by 3, x is now equal to 18. Okay, so the question said find x and y. It didn't say find the measure of angle 1 and 2. Keep that in mind, okay? So x is equal to 18 degrees and y is equal to 9 degrees. And that will be your answer that you have to plug in right here, okay? So that's it for 14.2. Let's move on to 14.3. Like I said, we're only doing module 14 in the video, but you're still getting tested for all those questions that I already showed you earlier. So now we have 14.3, question number 4 and 11. So let's start with question number 4. All right. For each postulate or theorem, select the angle pair relationship that you could use to prove that lines L and M in the diagram are parallel. Okay, so I want you to remember this was the question that a lot of you got wrong, and when I gave you the makeup period, a lot of you had to explain this question to me, okay? So I want you to think about something. Right here, it says that you need to prove what? That lines L and M are parallel. What that means is we're not quite sure if this line L and if that line M are parallel to each other or not. We just don't know. So we gotta try and prove it, okay? And say this is the reason why these two lines are parallel. And whenever we have to prove that the two lines are parallel to each other, we always have to use the what? The converse, okay? So I'm going to write that word down. It's really important. When you have to prove that two lines are parallel to each other, you gotta always use the converse of angle pairs, whatever, right? Okay, so for example, if you look at option A, it says angle 2 and 6. Well, angle 2 and 6 are what kind of angles? Corresponding angles. Then, because of the converse of the corresponding angles postulate, because of that, we know that lines L and M are parallel to each other. What about the next one? Angles 3 and 5. Let me use another color for that one. B. 3 and 5. Well, what kind of angles are they? Yeah, they are alternate interior angles and they measure the same. But we're not going to say, oh, they're alternate interior angles and they measure the same. No. When we know that these two are congruent to each other, that's how we can prove that these two lines L and M are parallel to each other. And when we want to do that, again, we have to use the word converse of, okay? Converse of what? In this case, this is going to be alternate interior angles postulate. So please don't get this confused, okay? If you already know that the two lines are parallel to each other, then because they are already parallel, you know that angle 2 and 6 measure the same and that angle 3 and 5 measure the same, okay? Because you already know that these two lines are parallel to each other. But in this question, we don't know if the two lines are parallel to each other or not. So we got to prove it by using the what? The converse of, okay? And then option number C down here, you could barely see over here because it's kind of cut off. It says angle 4 and 5 are supplementary. So 4 and 5 are what? They are same side interior angles, right? And so we know that they are supplementary. That means they add up to be 180 degrees. So because they add up to be 180 degrees, we know that these two lines are parallel. In that case, we have to use what? The converse of. The converse of the same side interior angles postulate, okay, tells me that these two lines are parallel to each other. Okay, so I hope that helps. Ooh, there's way more. Angle 4 and 8. So 4 and 8 are corresponding angles again. 3 and 6 are same side interior angles again. They add up to be 180. Angle 4 and 6 are alternate interior angles. But all of them are going to go ahead and prove that the two lines are parallel to each other. But we gotta remember to use the word converse. So as you can see, the converse of is all here, okay? So you can go ahead and put in the correct letter in this section. All right, so now we are done with question number 4. Let's move on to question number 11. So there you go. An overpass intersects two lanes of a highway. What must the value of x be to ensure the two lanes are parallel to each other? Okay, so again, this is another question where we're not quite sure if these two lanes are parallel or not. We just don't know, okay? So how can we know for sure? Only if, okay, these two angles are what? What are these two kinds of angles? Well, we have, if these were parallel lines, and this is a transversal, they're on the same side of the transversal and both on the inside of the parallel lines, so they would be same side interior angles, okay? So we're trying to prove if these two lines are parallel to each other, so what are we using? Not that, we're using the converse of the same side interior angles postulate. Okay, wow, that's very long. But anyway, basically what we're trying to say is if these two angles, okay, add up to be 180 degrees, if 4x plus 2x plus 30 ends up being 180 degrees, then basically we can prove that the two highlighted lines are really, really parallel because of what? The converse of the same side interior angles postulate, okay? So let's go ahead and combine these. 4x plus 2x is 6x plus 30 equals 180. Now I want to find out what x is equal to because it says what must the value of x be? So subtract 30 from both sides. So 6x is equal to 150. Divide both sides by 6 and x is now equal to, and then that's 3 equal 30. So x is equal to 25, and that's the correct answer. Now we're moving on to the last section that we're reviewing for today. Keep in mind you still have to study all the other modules as well. I just don't have enough time to do every single question with you. 14.4. So in module 14.4, I only had one question, and that was question number 10. So let's take a look. Given PA is equal to PC, oh, I need to highlight these things. PA, PC, right? So here's PA and PC. Oh, I already know right away, okay? When they told me that PA and PC are equal to each other, I already know that this line and this line are perpendicular to each other because of the perpendicular lines postulate or something like that, right? And then next thing I want to highlight is BA is equal to BC. Where's BA? BA is equal to BC. Yes, I am so right, okay? So then use the diagram to find the length described. Suppose PA is 50. So PA is 50. So if this is 50, obviously we already know that PC is 50. That's why I highlighted both with the same color. And then PB is 14. So it says PB. Where's PB? PB is this line over here, PB. And that is 14 centimeters. So then what is the length of AC? So we have to find the highlighted pink line over here, okay? And we already know this is 50 and this is 14. So what do you have to do? Just look at this triangle right here. This is 50, 14, and I don't know how long the bottom side is, but I already know because these two measure the same that this line and this line are perpendicular bisectors, right? Because of the perpendicular bisector theorem. And so that means that this and this is going to be the same as well, which is all given to us right here. So again, let me write that down. Perpendicular bisector theorem. That's what tells me that, you know, if you have a perpendicular bisector and then from any point on this line, if you were to like, you know, go down like that, then we know that this and this measure the same and this and that measure the same, okay? So that's what we are starting off with, okay? So then I'm just going to look at this triangle here, okay? This is 50, this is 14, this is 90 degrees, and then we want to find x. So what are we going to use? Of course, the Pythagorean theorem, right? So there you go. Remember we talked about this? Leg squared plus the other leg squared equals the hypo squared, remember? From there is history. Okay, x squared plus, what's 14 squared? Uh-oh. I should memorize it, but I haven't, so sorry for wasting your time. I'm pulling out my calculator right now. So there you go. 14 squared is 196. And, ooh, thank goodness I know that. That's 2,500. To find out what x squared is equal to, we gotta subtract 196 from both sides. So x squared is now equal to, let's see, 2,304. But we don't want to find out what x squared is equal to. We want to find out what x is, right? So we have to find the square root of that. So when I find I need to use a different color. When I find the square root of both sides, both the positive and the negative pops up, but of course the length of a side cannot be negative. So x is now equal to 48. So this is 48, but that's only this side. The question said we need to find the whole thing. So if this is 48, this is 48 as well. So 48 plus 48 is 96. And that would be your answer. So guess what? We are done reviewing Module 14 together. Please, this is like towards the beginning of the semester, so I'm doing this with you, but you know that there are questions from Module 22, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Please make sure you study thoroughly. Half of the test will be on Friday, and then the other half will be on Monday, just in time for me to put in my grades. Okay, thank you. Happy learning. Goodbye.